Hello, welcome to part 2 of making your very own Raspberry Pi car. In part 1 we talked about assembling various components to make a Raspberry Pi car that goes forwards and backwards. In this one we're going to talk about adding a few components and then making it remote control using an Xbox 360 controller. So, without further ado, let's get right into it. First, we're going to remove all jumper wires from part 1 and add diodes to the circuit. Since we are moving to a remote-controlled configuration, there will be rapid changes in motor direction. Quick changes in direction can cause current to flow backward into the controller and damage it. By adding 4 diodes to each motor circuit, we can stop current from flowing backward and protect the speed controllers. First, we will solder 4 diodes together like so. Repeat this 3 more times for each motor. Then, the diode assembly will be added to each motor circuit as shown, with the top point going to your voltage supply, the bottom point going to ground, and the left and right points going to each motor lead. Now, just repeat that for every single motor. Now, we're going to connect 6 jumper wires to each speed controller. We're going to use the initial 4 that we used in part 1, and now we're going to add 2 leads to the PWM outputs on the speed controllers as shown. Be sure to keep track of which colors connect to which pin when you're doing this. It will be useful later. And that's that. Now we'll connect the power supply to the Raspberry Pi as we did in part 1. For the rear speed controller, I connected the white lead to pin 40, the red lead to pin 38, and the black lead to pin 36. Then I connected the brown lead to pin 15, the yellow lead to pin 13, and the blue lead to pin 11. For the front speed controller, the green lead to pin 23, that one comes from the PWM output, the white lead to pin 21, the other green lead to pin 19, and finally, the gray lead to pin 37, the purple lead to pin 35, and the blue lead to pin 33. The reason I picked these GPIO pins is based on the state when the Raspberry Pi boots up. Some GPIO pins are on a state of 1 when it boots up, and your motors will start spinning when you don't want them to. The actual pin definitions of each lead will be defined in the following code. Now connect the USB dongle and we will move on to the code. Before we get into the actual Python code, let's be sure to download our Xbox drivers. In the terminal, you're going to type sudo apt-get install xbox drv. Then, once that installs, you can test it by running sudo xbox drv detach kernel driver. This will have an infinite amount of lines running across your terminal, and when you press a button and move a joystick or whatever, you'll see a readout, thus confirming that you have the Xbox and USB dongle properly connected. Now that we've tested it and know it works, we're going to finish up in the terminal by typing in sudo nano /etc/rc.local, and then add our code path with the ampersand to the boot up programs list so you can turn on the Pi and start driving. Before we get into the code, be sure to download xbox.py from the GitHub in the link below and save it to the same folder path as your Python script. For the script, we will start by defining each pinout location. Then, we will initialize each PWM output. Then from there, it's simply logic-based if statements for a tank-style drive system based on the orientation of the left joystick. Hope you enjoyed this tutorial. If you like what you see, check out one of my other videos using the links on your screen. And if you would like to see more great content like this, make sure to like, subscribe, or even check out our Patreon in the link below.